17-year-old Bella Swan has made the decision to leave sunny Phoenix and spend some time with her father, Charlie Swan, who is the chief of police in the perpetually cloudy and rainy city of Forks, Washington, on the west coast of the Olympic Peninsula. This is to allow her mother, Renee, and her stepfather, Phil Dwyer, who plays minor league baseball, to go on the road for spring training and possibly relocate to Jacksonville, Florida. Bella's relationship with her father is distant, despite not having seen him for several years. When she arrives in Forks, her father surprises her with a gift, an old red pickup truck he bought from his best friend, Billy Black. Bella reminisces about her childhood memories of playing with Billy's son, Jacob, and looks forward to having at least one friend at Forks High School, until Jacob reminds her that he attends school on the reservation. On her first day of school, Bella is befriended by Eric Yorkie, who is known as the eyes and ears of the school, and he introduces her to some other students. Everything seems fine until she meets Edward Cullen. Edward is one of 5 foster kids adopted by Dr. Carlisle Cullen and his wife, Esme. There are also Alice and Emmett Cullen, as well as the twins, Rosalie and Jasper Hale. From the moment Edward lays eyes on Bella, he can't stop scowling at her. When Bella becomes Edward's lab partner in biology, her unintentional gesture of stepping in front of the classroom fan triggers a strange reaction from him, as if he's becoming sick. Confused, Bella wonders what she could have done to upset him. When she overhears Edward attempting to transfer out of biology in the office, she decides to confront him and ask what his problem is. However, she doesn't get the chance because Edward is absent for the next few days. When Edward finally returns to school, he appears different. He introduces himself to Bella and starts asking questions about her and her family, as well as her thoughts on the cold and rainy climate in Forks. Bella notices that his eyes seem to have changed color, and his responses become awkward before he walks away. Later that day, as Bella is about to get into her truck, a car spins out of control in the school parking lot. Within seconds, Edward crosses the lot, pulls Bella out of harm's way, and seemingly stops the car with his bare hand, leaving Bella even more puzzled. When she tries to inquire about how he accomplished it, he attributes it to an adrenaline rush and refuses to discuss it. Moreover, he suggests that they probably shouldn't be friends. Despite this, Bella still asks Edward to be her date for a surfing trip to La Push Beach on the Indian Reservation, but Edward doesn't show up. When Jacob Black and 2 of his friends from the reservation join them on the beach, Bella learns that Edward was supposed to be her date, and one of Jacob's friends remarks, "The Cullens don't come here." Later, Bella asks Jacob about the meaning behind that comment, and he tells her a Quileute legend that states the Quileutes are descendants of wolves, while the Cullens are descended from an enemy clan. The legend also reveals that the Quileutes and the Cullens made a pact, requiring the Cullens to stay off Quileute land in exchange for the Quileutes keeping the true nature of the Cullens a secret. Although Jacob dismisses it as an old story, Bella suspects there is more to it. She researches Quileute legends online and discovers a bookstore in Port Angeles that sells several books on the subject. After purchasing her books, Bella heads towards the restaurant where she had planned to meet Jessica and Angela for dinner before returning to Forks. However, along the way, her path is intercepted by 4 individuals with malicious intentions. Suddenly, Edward drives up, swiftly intervening and compelling the guys to retreat, commanding Bella to get into the car. Once Edward and Bella join Jessica and Angela at the restaurant, they discover that the girls have already finished their meal. Edward kindly offers to ensure Bella gets something to eat and then drives her back to Forks. Jessica and Angela take their leave, granting Bella and Edward an opportunity to converse privately. During their conversation, Edward discloses that he was keeping an eye on Bella due to the deep protective instincts he has developed towards her. He unintentionally reveals that he can read the minds of those delinquents, but intriguingly, he confesses that he can read the thoughts of almost everyone, except for Bella's. During the drive back to Forks, Bella unintentionally brushes her hand against Edward's and is taken aback by the icy coldness of his skin. As they pass the Forks Police Department, they notice a gathering of police cars, including Bella's father's vehicle, with their lights flashing. Dr. Cullen's car is also present, prompting Bella and Edward to stop and inquire about the situation. They learn from Carlisle that Waylon Forge, a close friend of Bella's father, has been discovered dead in a boat, seemingly attacked by an animal. This incident marks the second animal attack to occur near Forks. Later, after Bella returns home with her father, she begins to explore the books she purchased and stumbles upon a Quileute legend about the Cold One. Curiosity leads her to search online, where she discovers that the Cold One, also known as Abu Donkin, is a fanged creature described as undead, immortal, possessing exceptional speed, strength, and cold skin. It is said to consume human blood and is often associated with vampire legends. The following day, Bella confronts Edward with her newfound knowledge. Rather than denying it, Edward decides to take her to the top of a mountain, above the cloud cover, where he reveals how a vampire's skin glistens in sunlight. He explains that the Cullen family has chosen to sustain themselves on animal blood, considering themselves vegetarian vampires. However, he admits to being a killer and confesses that his initial hostile reaction towards Bella was due to her blood's irresistibly appetizing scent, making him desire to kill her and feed on her. He confesses that he has never craved a human's blood as much as he craves hers. In response, Bella expresses her indifference to the danger and insists that she trusts Edward to maintain control. Edward goes on to disclose that Carlisle turned him into a vampire in 1918 when he was on the brink of death from Spanish influenza. He also clarifies that Wayland's death was caused by other vampires, not the Cullens. As Bella and Edward's relationship progresses, Edward decides to bring Bella home to meet his family. However, he suddenly announces complications and abruptly drives away, coinciding with the arrival of Billy and Jacob at Bella's house. As Edward's car passes theirs, tension fills the air as suspicious and wary glances are exchanged between the parties involved. Billy inquires about the investigation into Wayland's death, and their conversation implies that Billy suspects the truth behind the incident, casting a knowing look at Bella. The following day, Edward brings Bella to the Cullen residence, a stunning house located on the outskirts of town. As Bella explores upstairs, she discovers the Cullens preparing a meal for her, even though she had already eaten, knowing that the Cullens don't consume food. The majority of the Cullens warmly welcome Bella, particularly Alice, who is especially friendly. Jasper, however, maintains politeness but keeps his distance, struggling with refraining from human blood. The only Cullen who appears displeased with Bella's presence is Rosalie, who expresses concerns about the potential negative outcome of Edward and Bella's relationship, fearing that Edward may harm Bella, which could lead to consequences for the entire family and force them to relocate once again. Nonetheless, Edward is extremely cautious to avoid losing control when he is around Bella, and their relationship continues to flourish. On a rainy afternoon, Edward takes Bella out to play baseball with his family. During their game, three figures emerge from the mist. The Cullens, sensing danger, regroup with Edward shielding Bella. The intruders turn out to be rogue vampires who have been preying on humans, including Wayland Forge. They introduce themselves as Laurent, Victoria, and James and inquire about joining the Cullens' game. Thinking swiftly, Carlisle agrees, pretending that some of the family members were leaving and offering their spots to Laurent and the others. This serves as a signal for Edward to safely escort Bella away before she is detected. The group moves back onto the field to assume their positions. However, the wind suddenly shifts, causing James to catch Bella's scent and realize that a human is present among them. He sneers, remarking, "You brought a snack," and starts advancing toward Bella. Edward swiftly intervenes, while Laurent retreats and agrees to leave, accompanied by James and Victoria. Edward promptly takes Bella away from the scene, driving away rapidly. During their escape, Edward reveals to Bella that James is a tracker, and his intense reaction to catching her scent has turned her into his most thrilling target. James is determined to capture her, and Bella's only hope lies in reaching James first, tearing him apart, and burning the pieces. Edward's initial plan is to catch a ferry to Vancouver, but Bella insists on returning home first, despite Edward's reservations. They devise a plan to quickly enter and exit the house without alerting her father to what is happening. Upon arriving home, Bella rushes into the house, slamming the front door and exclaiming, "It's over." At Edward. She informs her father that she needs to leave immediately. Ignoring her father's protests, she packs a small bag and joins Edward in the waiting truck, and they drive away. Unfortunately, James has already tracked Bella to Charlie's house and is now pursuing them. They make a stop at the Cullens' residence, where Laurent has arrived to warn them about James and Victoria. The new plan involves Alice and Jasper driving Bella south, while the rest of the family, including Rosalie and Esme disguised in Bella's clothing, create a false trail through the woods. However, it doesn't take long for James to realize that he has been deceived. As James changes his course, Alice receives a vision and realizes that James is heading to a ballet studio in Phoenix, where Bella once took lessons. While Jasper and Alice check into a hotel in Phoenix, Bella receives a frantic call from her mother on her cell phone, expressing deep concern for her well-being. In this intense turn of events, James manages to trick Bella into believing that he has captured her mother and forces her to meet him at her old ballet studio. Bella takes a taxi to the studio, only to discover that it was a ruse and James had manipulated her by playing a video of her mother's voice. James further taunts her by threatening to film their encounter to hurt Edward emotionally. He physically assaults Bella, breaking her leg in the process. However, Edward arrives at the scene, having traveled faster than the others due to his vampire speed. A brutal fight ensues between James and Edward, with their powerful vampire strength causing destruction to the surroundings. At one point, James manages to bite Bella's arm. Just in time, Carlisle, Alice, Emmett, and Jasper arrive. Alice rushes to Bella's side while Carlisle pulls Edward away from James, emphasizing that Bella needs him more. Overwhelmed by Bella's blood, Alice, unable to resist the temptation, asks Carlisle to take over. Carlisle tends to Bella's injuries while Alice swiftly breaks James' neck. Jasper and Emmett then start a fire to burn James' body. Carlisle reveals that Bella's femoral artery is severed, resulting in significant blood loss. However, the more critical concern is that Bella has been bitten, and the vampire venom is already affecting her. Edward faces a crucial decision: either let the change into a vampire take place or attempt to remove the venom. Despite Alice's vision of Bella becoming a vampire, Edward refuses to allow the transformation and opts to suck out the venom, fully aware that it might be difficult to stop once he starts. When Bella wakes up, she finds herself in the hospital, with her mother by her side and Edward asleep in a chair. Bella claims to have no memory of the events, so her mother explains that Edward and Carlisle came down from Forks to convince her to return. According to Renee, when Bella went to visit them at their hotel, she tripped, fell down 2 flights of stairs, broke her leg, went through a window, and lost a significant amount of blood. As Renee leaves to fetch Charlie from the hospital cafeteria, Edward wakes up quickly. He informs Bella that they have taken care of James and that Victoria has fled. Edward suggests that Bella move to Jacksonville with her mother to ensure her safety, but Bella firmly refuses. Subsequently, Bella returns to Forks to live with her father. Despite her leg being in a cast, Bella attends prom with Edward. While Edward goes to park the car, Jacob joins Bella and tells her that his father wants her to end her relationship with Edward. He also warns her, "We'll be watching you." Bella responds with laughter. Later, as Bella and Edward dance in a gazebo, she informs him that she has made the decision to be with him forever and offers her neck to him. Edward leans in, but instead of biting, he simply kisses her neck.